What is up, Internet? It's your boy Brando, and welcome to episode 10. I had to stop there for a second. Of the Otaku Remix podcast.
Fucking nailed it.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
House is here again.
Again.
Well done.
What is this, the fourth podcast now?
In a row.
You know what? I think you've earned regular tenure. So I'm not treating you special anymore.
Oh, I'm glad.
Which is why I've got a new special guest. Our good friend, Matthew Kahana, a.k.a. Plural, is joining us for this podcast. How are you doing, Plural?
Doing great.
Yes.
Doing great.
That's it?
That's it for
Just
now.
great with
That's
all this
it for now.
with all this food and alcohol near us?
Well, let's not go into that stuff just yet.
It's not consumed, so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We are fresh off the fresh out of the movie theater. We just had a chance to watch the 2017 hit film A Silent Voice, directed by, I don't know, I should probably pull that up right now. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Go for it. Yeah,
Wild
so
Side
a
2.
Silent Voice, a.k.a. The Shape of Voice.
Yeah, The Shape of Voice was the Japanese title.
Was the Japanese title. We know that because it was written in English on the actual movie's beginning and end
Directed
credits.
by Naoko Yamada. Okay.
Naoko Yamada.
Naoko Yamada, yep. It's a fantastic film. And it's funny how we ended up there. The only reason we did watch it is because post Redline podcast,
Yes.
we were looking into factoids about the publication. I think we were looking for the U.S. release date.
Yeah.
And then we ended up seeing that there was a plan the G Kids were looking to re-release Redline in the States. So we were looking at anime movie theater dates, and we stumbled upon a local
theater.
local showtime for A Silent Voice, like literally the day after we recorded Redline. So here we are, hot off the tails on another anime fucking movie review.
I know.
This podcast channel is gonna seem real samey all of a sudden.
It's all right. We'll break code eventually.
Yeah, we'll break the streak one of these days. But what did you guys think? Because none of us had preface really to this film. I know me and you saw Plural.
I watched the trailer.
Yeah,
I saw
you
a
saw
quick
a trailer.
2-minute trailer.
I had seen lots of footage over the past 2 years, just clips, and I had seen all the accolades and a lot of people were raving for me to see it, but it was a lot of generalized conversation. It wasn't like you should see it because of this reason. It's just it's so good, So, what about you, Chris?
I had no idea what I was getting involved with. I know that sounds nefarious. No, but I assumed there was going to be either somebody deaf or somebody mute involved because of the name of the title.
Yeah.
But what I did not expect was a beautifully crafted 2-hour movie with mostly people just talking back and forth, and it was so interesting and so it kept my attention the entire time.
It was rather tame from
Like an action
visual standpoint, yeah.
But with the camera work, I say camera work. What I mean is the position of the theoretical camera within the scene, and the way that characters are animated. The framing, thank you, sorry. The framing, the animation of when people are talking and they're gesturing, constantly keeps you involved in the film.
The editing and then all that kind of maintains the momentum. In a certain way.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I was very pleasantly surprised. Honestly, probably enjoyed it actually a bit more than Summer Wars. It's been a hot streak this past few days. Yeah. We haven't broken it yet. There's got to be something shitty we're going to watch next. Don't worry about it.
We can watch that, what do we see in the trailers? The Eat Your Pancreas movie?
Oh, yeah. Or Can I Eat Your Pancreas?
Dude, the thing is, though, I hear that movie's good, too. So, I don't know.
I hope you can hear my sigh on the microphone.
Very loud sigh.
Very loud sigh. And subtitles, sighing intensifies.
I'll throw it in there, in the editing. You'll see it float in below on the YouTube video.
I see the audio spike right now of just... I think that's my sigh.
And the waveforms that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Plural. Mm-hmm. What did you like?
What I like about the movie?
Yeah, just tell me something that you thought was a standout feature.
I like how it kind of really goes into not very each, but most of the characters' psyche. Like how the effects of happening to Shoko and, I forget her name offhand, Shoyoko?
Shoko is the girl.
Shoko is the girl.
And
Shoyo is the boy.
Yes.
How what's going on with them is really affecting everyone else, and how they're trying to... Because everyone gets split up due to the events of his primary school. And then trying to bring everyone back in.
His friend group from his youth, Yeah,
so and then everyone gets split up effectively, and then events happen which cause everyone to try to be pulled back in, and seeing on how that everyone's.
So you like how tangentially they're the epicenter of the event.
Well, everything is like dispersed and then try to bring everything back.
Yeah. It was interesting how they recollected the cast. I really didn't think they would try to get as many of the initial supporting cast back as much as possible. You could tell like from that Naoka.
Yes.
Whatever, the tsundere bitch.
No, she's way past
I don't think she is.
Whatever,
she
is pure bitch.
She is a straight up mean girl.
Yeah, there's no
changing. Like nothing you can say to make her happy.
Yes.
Closest thing to villain in the fucking film. But Naoka, and you could tell from her and like the interactions how intimate they were when they were young. That I feel like you could kind of allude to some some foreshadowing that they would become pertinent in the present timeline when they skip to the meat of the film, which is when Shoko and Shoya are in high school. But I liked a lot of the supporting cast. I think that they're all pretty fun.
Aside from Fat Boy McGinty.
Yeah, I was thinking that he was the one person who never got to see him again.
It's like, oh, you mean the
guy who was
always choking out?
Yeah.
I mean, he saves him. I think they
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking about the green-haired boy.
Oh, he's talking about he's in like a Super Bro.
Super Bro.
The bro.
The first friend that Shoyo makes.
Yeah, Shoya.
After the move to high school. Yeah. He's the one who almost gets his bike stolen.
He beyond that initial
It's comic relief.
Yeah.
He's comic relief, and for some people he'll hit every time. For me, he just annoyed me.
I feel like I didn't mean to cut you off, but I feel like he's really important though because he literally brought him back from the brink.
Absolutely,
like that was one of his. He wouldn't have gotten to the ending without him.
I'm definitely
100%
in between the two statements that we just said. Like I really appreciated how he was like the inciting, the impetus for him to start like opening up again. Yeah. And I liked how he was like the first friend he made in like a really long time. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning it was kind of touching. But then it transitioned really quickly into comic relief, where he's he's doing like yo what's up man, and pretending to smoke with the fucking fry. Like that's funny. Yeah. And then he gets really cringy afterwards because he's funny to a point, and like when he's like not standoffish, where he's like kind of like protecting his like kill.
He's protecting. He's very protective of Shoyo.
His property. His territory, and that's funny too. But then after that, his character gets a little bit. I don't know, not old, but
it's just he comes up at inappropriate times.
A little bit, yeah. So
it's fine. The character's fine. I don't want him not to be in the film. I'm just saying I don't personally love him.
Yeah, no, okay. I agree.
There's always gonna be those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's totally fine.
He just wore on me a little bit. Yeah, so I agree. Yeah, but in general, I do really like that first little analog story with him. The other supporting characters like Miki, the really
she
soft
was
looking
the
one.
Class president, I think.
Yeah, the pretty one.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's always hanging out with the red-haired super bro.
Right.
Dude's like, I thought we were friends, man.
It's fine, bro.
Like, what kind of douchebag picks on a fucking deaf girl?
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Oh no!
I like him a lot, actually.
No, he is the most side character.
Yeah.
But he's great.
I think that's why, because he's so chill.
He brings in the normalcy.
Yes.
It puts in perspective on how
when everybody's
unhinged.
Or how unstressed it can be. Because he's there.
He's just like
he's relaxed.
He's just like, guys.
I thought we were friends.
But he's not the one to shake everybody alive. He's just like he's like a pH test, if you will. Where it's like this is what normal is. Yeah. Everybody else is fucked up.
Yeah.
But in a understandable way. Mm-hmm. Like none of these characters. It's there is a lot of like high school level drama throughout this movie. Yeah. But it's believable, and you still I found myself sympathizing with every character in the movie.
That's a good way to frame it, the believability, because I don't feel like this falls into the normal melodrama of anime.
No.
I feel like it kind of focuses on like their perspective, like in youth, like very much so, to the point where I don't feel like the dramatic tension comes to a point where it's like exacerbated. Like I really think that it comes from a place that's relatable, that's understandable. So I did like the way they handled all the topics, suicide, anxiety, the stress of having a handicap, all the complications of that. So, yeah.
And like it doesn't even come from, because you say like, oh, it doesn't fall into the melodrama. It's like if we were just to sit here and actually go through every plot point of the movie, it could sound melodramatic.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's through the execution,
exactly.
And how the characters come up, how they're set up, because unlike a lot of bad scripts where you just have people explaining their motivation and who they are and why they feel this way, we instead watch people react to events, and that's how we understand who they are. That's why the movie's like pace is so good, because every scene has a purpose behind it, and we get to just see little snippets of every character and how they interact. Like there's one moment we were talking about the green-haired fat kid. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either. I'm sorry.
The comic relief, who in the beginning hangs out with Shoyo. He hangs out with Shoyo so much, and it's used as comic relief of like, oh, they're just hanging out all the time now. But you could describe it as desperate. He's desperate for a friend, and that's why he's hanging out. We then later see that with Shoyo and Shoko during the summer vacation period, where Shoyo is constantly asking Shoko, let's go out tomorrow, let's go out tomorrow, let's go out tomorrow. Yeah, but it's mirrored within the film, which is really clever.
Yeah. And that was after he like reached the point where he's like, all right, it's not working out with any of my other friends. I'm really going straight for her
because she's pure and innocent, and she is not a bad person. Yeah. Everybody else is a bad person.
Yeah, his motivations at that point were kind of confusing to me. Like why he was like so insistent? Like, is he just trying to cover up his guilt? Is it just something easy?
It seems like he's because at that point, I think it's a good time to bring up a what would you describe it? A artistic motif throughout the film, which is that every person that Shoyo, once he gets in high school and he develops this social anxiety, every person who he cannot connect with has a big blue X on their face.
It looks like a cartoony X over his face,
including not just the main cast, like every person in the scene, in the shot.
It was a very interesting design choice,
yeah, and it happens throughout the film. And as he starts to accept people for who they are, or even just like let them in, the X gets removed.
It's a little confusing on what the rules are. Like at first, sometimes I feel like it's people who he can consider his friends. And at first, that's what I thought it was, but then later in the film, it almost made me, especially right at the end, it almost felt me feel like it was only people he could actually look at, because like when he goes in the classroom at the end there, like everyone's no X's, and then he freaks out a second and everyone gets X's.
Okay.
So I almost thought it might just be people he can actually...
That general description of who he can look at might be the best explanation of the rules.
That he can look in their eyes.
Right. Yeah. But what makes a person acceptable or able to what makes Shoyo able to look into somebody's eyes is another topic. I think it has to do with his own disgust. Going back to what initially ostracizes him, basically when Shoko is taken out of the school, the principal comes in and says, hey, who was bullying her?
Man, their teacher.
Their teacher was a piece of shit. We're gonna eventually get to the lack of father figures throughout this entire film.
I feel like it's all adult males in this film
are douchebags,
except for one.
Who we were worried. I was worried.
Absent or just terrible.
Yes.
Nah, man, there's a few good ones.
No,
I think there's one, and that's the brother-in-law.
The brother-in-law is great.
Turns out
he's the son-in-law, right?
He is his brother. He is Shoyo's brother.
Shoyo's brother-in-law. What about fucking bro dude, like chill man?
No, but that's not a father figure.
We're saying father figure, so adults.
Okay.
Yeah. Adult males.
You might be right. This is just scarce without them. Like that fucking sign language class is all women as well.
Yes.
So there's not that many men available.
It's like the primary teacher, the principal.
He was the only like adult male,
and even both of them are very. They're negligent though.
Yeah.
Because they're very much like just follow the rules and
we'll get
do what I tell you to do, and I don't care what is actually going on.
That's true. There's a lot of times where he's just like knock it off, and then now the shit hits the
fan. Not even in a loving way though. He's just like knock it off.
Yeah, there's so many bad things on the teacher too. Where they're doing the classic. Japanese school thing where everyone's reading from the text, and then he asks the deaf girl to read from the book.
Oh my god!
In front of the class, and it's like, who does that? And he's just looking at his book like he did nothing wrong. Like there's nothing Like, you expected that.
And then even before that, he has the girl. He has another student reading, and he goes, "Why are you reading so slow? You sound like a 5-year-old." Like, who does that?
Yeah, he is kind of a rushed asshole.
Yeah.
I take it back.
And it has to be. It has to be intentional.
Not only that, but when he gets outed in front of the whole class, Pencil comes in. He's like, who's been bullying her? And he's like, You're sitting right next to him. Or Naoko, it's like, you sit right next to him because someone said that maybe Shoyo...
No, he says Shoyo. He says, Shoyo, I know you've been...
He slams the board.
He does that, and then he outs specific students, like, I know you were talking to him, I know you saw that, tell the principal what happened.
Yeah.
He
just wants to get the problem off his back. Yeah. It's not
very forceful.
Yes, no, so there are no father figures in this movie.
I wonder why.
There has to be an intention. I wonder if this is like... this is for something. This is something for film students to
because
to
like
go
you could
over.
think about the director or whoever. Maybe they have some psychological things that happened to them growing up. Maybe they didn't like their father figure. I mean, they could be projecting that onto this film.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be something we investigate. Something that is a hot take, by the way. Again, reminder, we were fresh out of the movie.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely have to think about that.
Sorry for the sporadicness, but
no, it's all good. So definitely like
another thing that you mentioned in the car was the moral debt.
Oh yes. Yeah. So the opening of this film starts with Shoyo. He's already in high school by this point.
Yeah.
It's a little mise en scène. This is actual mise en scène.
That is actual mise en scène.
Where we start with Shoyo selling all his belongings, quitting his part-time job, emptying out his bank account of 1.7 million yen, which is about like $17,000, give or take. He leaves it in an envelope to his mother on his mother's bedside, saying and it says, "What I owe you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he tells him, he more or less is telling himself, like, I've paid my debts. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go kill myself now because that's all I need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see him even go on the bridge and everything.
And from then on, the whole movie is about there's an underlying theme of moral debts in terms of morality, in terms of like basically it's like what I do affects other people in a negative way, and how can I repent, and if I can't, what do I do about that? I mean, we even see it in Shoko. Shoko sees herself as a burden to everyone around her. And that it takes a toll on her immensely. And it's we also see what's the class president when she's when she's blamed. And she goes, listen, I was not a part of it. She deflects. She goes and she's loud about it too. Goodness. Absolutely. Yeah. And Naoko, the black-haired girl, when she is asked, like, said, hey, were you involved with this too? She instantly blames somebody else. And she does this throughout the film. Anytime something's going bad for her, she blames somebody else. So when she goes to Shoyo and is trying to, like, flirt with him, she goes, oh my god, is it her? Are you interested in her? It has nothing to do with... She does not realize that her being a bitch and sitting on his bike and dissing his friend is what's making him go, can you go away? It has to be, oh my god, she's doing something to you, or something like that. The whole film is not obsessed, but like themed around social debts and how that weighs on people. And it's very fascinating. It's very focused.
It's very Japanese.
It's very Japanese.
That whole obligatory thing to, like, obligation to other people.
Yes. Obligation is a perfect term.
That's in general.
Yes.
To society.
And how do we deal with it? How do we move forward knowing that there's some things we just cannot fix? It's a very heavy subject for a high school drama movie.
It does tackle a lot of interesting subjects, though. Like you've already mentioned, like, how the moral debt, and then obviously the mental not mental. I guess you could still call it mental illness. Because we were taking many perspectives on what was happening with Shoya and with obviously depression, deep depression with him and Shoko, and how it's specifically within youth, and it handles it with fair dignity.
There's also death in the film.
Yes,
there is death. There is the death of a family member with Shoko's family, and she handles it fairly well. It's more impertinent to Yuzu, Yuzuru, Shoko's younger sister, and she's she's a fantastic supporting character.
Yes. Yeah.
For so many reasons. But yeah, you get to see elements of death portrayed and how that affects a family and how the family members react. And I don't know, there's just a lot going on. It's a pretty dense film, just like Summer Wars, but in a different region.
In a very different way. Summer Wars is hard to pick apart at times.
It's a more dense
I'm sorry,
movie.
Have you seen Summer Wars? Okay, we
won't
go too much into it.
We won't go too much into it, but I think from an action standpoint, it's more dense because the movie...
Because the movie's split in two.
Yeah, there's a lot more logistical complications, like where there's literally like, now there's a nuke, like, things like that, as opposed to like emotional and social entanglements that happen within a silent voice, where all of a sudden now Naoko's back, and now she has feelings that she wants to express at the theme park, and now Shoko feels guilty about something. Those are the kind of compounding.
I wouldn't describe it as dense. I would describe the whole film as emotionally heavy.
Yes,
every scene makes you feel something, whether it's anxious, whether it's like upset, whether it's like just depressed.
It's a very feels movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously with the bullying as well. That's a very empathetic situation, and so many people obviously get affected by that.
Multiple different angles of bullying too, and what happens to the bully post bullying.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, I was mentioning that in the car also when we were on our way here. That I thought it was a really ballsy move for the perspective to be from the bully as opposed to from the victim, because most times when you see stories about this, especially in the West, it's the victim either succeeding over the bully, and then there being some sort of catharsis or some lesson to be told about how bullying's bad. This is more about the emotional trauma that these situations in youth can lead to, and how the bully can be just as affected by the situation. And I know that sounds kind of, I don't know, insensitive
it's a
to
much
some
more
people.
It's a much more, I don't want to say balanced approach, because it's not trying to take
it's just
sides.
more realistic, honestly.
And you know what, at the end of the day, it's more interesting by this point, because especially, I'm sure for those listening, for us watching, we've seen movies where it's a cathartic victory over the bully. We've seen that. This is not that type of movie. This movie is about the characters and
there's no good guys and bad guys.
Exactly.
Really.
There's literally one point where it's like, why are you taking this person's side? It's like, I'm not taking sides. I'm just like expressing who I am. I'm expressing my opinion on this.
This movie, like you said, moral redemption, but a lot of it's about characters change, and like, can they change from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. Like
that's the big thing for Shoko, when she kind of breaks down right at the very end.
I was thinking the student that first tried to do sign language.
Miyako, I think her name, Miyako or Miyoko.
Oh, I love her.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there was the original character. Yeah, I think we're just gonna call her Miyako for now.
Yes.
Sure.
Or Miyoko, but she was the one who she originally volunteered to do the sign language, and then she left because she was getting bullied
for being even
involved. Everyone's like, well, look at her being a teacher's pet, blah blah blah, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then because later he said, he lashes out at everyone at one point, and he's like,
you're still
Shoko, Shoyo, sorry.
It's hard. Anyway, and he lashes out at everyone at one point, and he says to her, you're still the same person, you always run away, kind of thing, and so he does that to almost the entire cast at that point, and
except for Shoko.
Almost.
Yes.
Shoko's perfect.
Yeah.
But she's
not. And just showing that everyone was trying to change their habits in primary school, but some people just couldn't do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and his lashing out, he kind of tries to address their failures and their attempt to change, how they're all still, imperfect.
Yeah.
And that whole element of change is what I thought was interesting, because that's what Shoko says to him when they meet. Or when they meet at the end of the climactic meeting, when he comes back from the hospital out of his coma, and then she says when they break down, he says he's sorry. He finally gets a chance to apologize for all the shit he did as a young man, as a primary school kid when he bullied her, and then she says, "I'm sorry, because I wanted to change and I didn't." Yeah. And I really,
Yeah, it's a really big thing.
Change in the sense of her suicidal thoughts, and
I think it's more than that, but
she wanted to change. She wanted to change her image of herself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because a lot of her struggle, her struggle is the internal struggle to be confident and to be comfortable
and to feel accepted
And to accept herself.
And to accept herself.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing for Shoyo. He was having the same issue. That's the reason that he almost jumped off the bridge too.
Yeah.
So they ended up having similar doubts about themselves.
Which is interesting because like the one thing I was thinking throughout the movie was like, because there's obviously like romantic implications between Shoyo and Shoko, but at the same time they never show how they connect.
Like, we know how she feels.
How she feels.
She unsuccessfully tries to confess.
In the movie's one of the few poor localization moments.
Yeah, we were all, like, looking at each other in that moment where she tries to say, I love you, but we know, because we're weebs, we've seen enough shit.
Yes.
We've seen enough Jap to know that when he tries to perceive that as the moon, and like that's what basically that's what happens. She says, "I love you." He's like,
in a very I think the voice actress must have like put cotton in her mouth.
She's trying to verbalize how a person who's deaf would sound.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That's what she sounds like. So it just sounds like
yeah, exactly.
And so for some reason the Shoyo responds, "Are you trying to talk about the moon?"
Like, yeah, the moon's right there. It's
pretty.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
And he's not really looking at her. He's looking at the moon. You just see her face. She looks like she's super embarrassed.
Right.
Embarrassed.
But for those who don't know, the reason why he thought she said the moon is because
normies.
Filthy normies is because of I think Brando explained it very well. Go ahead, plural. Yes.
So I love you typically in Japanese is Suki, where the moon is ski. Or no, backwards.
Yes. Other way around.
Moon is Suki, I love you is ski. So when he heard her in her awful voice, he misconstrued with the word that she was trying to say. Yes. So he's like, oh, the moon's right there. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, they were much more close in phraseology in Japanese, and so it makes more sense in the scene. Yes. The American voice, the English voice actress had to like really like try to ham in the moon sound. Where like, are you like the like all you like and like exactly and like trying to ham it in there. And
I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to someone who actually is that.
I have, yeah,
but it's really bad.
I know it is.
It can get better. I had a classmate in high school and in college that had that, and the one from high school can almost speak very normally now.
Really?
So yeah, they've gotten quite good at it. I don't know how. Your hearing hasn't gotten any better.
Hey man, 20 years of experience will
exactly. Yeah, I think it's just the.
But the problem is you can't hear how you're messing up your words. That's what makes it really hard.
You just have people. I think the basis is you have people go no. And like you make mouth movements and stuff like that. And you just trial by fire, basically.
Yeah, essentially, because there are musicians that are deaf, and like Beethoven's out there, and they fucking figure it out.
That guy who made
they're miraculous. So.
That Japanese composer who was deaf.
Yeah,
but turned out he didn't actually make the music.
Oh,
and thus made that horrible Resident Evil.
We're not talking about that.
I'm sorry, but yes, no. What were we even talking about? Yeah, so that one scene, the translation got a little funky. But other than that,
one of the few small.
I mean, you're gonna encounter that in anime movies every time.
I'm just happy it came to the West.
Same.
I'll always appreciate like a lot of people like a couple years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, when Studio Ghibli started to hit its like financial crisis and like. Miyazaki continued to flirt with like I'm retiring and he's like I'm never doing 3D and now he's like I'm doing one 3D movie then retiring and all the drama of that. Not that they're the end all be all, but a lot of people thought that would be the end of like anime films or the beginning of the end of anime films being able to come to the West in feature film form. And I'm glad to see over the last like 5-6 years good films like this Your Name. I'm starting to blank out. Our Corner of the World, et cetera, and more films that are coming out.
Of all those ones, I think this has been my favorite.
Yeah,
like
Summer Wars actually as well, but that was like a little bit further.
Summer Wars about a decade ago.
Yeah, those were a long time ago, but still the same fact.
Man.
Yeah, whatever. Mirai from Mamoru Hosoda, director of Summer Wars, that came out last year, 2018. I got a chance to see that in theaters. So another good one. But yeah, just generally, I appreciate that fact that it's just encouraging to see fantastic films in the anime industry making it over here. But I think we can wrap up now. We've glommed on a little bit out. So, any final thoughts you want to put out there to Will it put a stamp on this?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I feel like I've said this the last 2 podcasts we've done. Go see this movie.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
It's a strong recommendation. If you can't go see it in theaters, it comes out April 23rd. They were advertising
April 17th this year.
Not even
April
close.
17th.
You bitch.
April 17th. That sponsorship is
Yeah.
just gone. No.
But you can do pre-orders now. It's a pre-order now, but it comes out April 17th.
Right, and I assume on streaming services as well.
Probably.
Definitely go check this movie out.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic. I think everybody will be able to relate to the one character in this movie at least, because I feel like they touch on so many different problems that kids develop through. Even if you weren't affected by bullying personally, I'm sure you witnessed something or saw somebody go through bullying and change because of it. And I think this movie will really resonate with you on that level.
Like there's so many lovable characters in this cast. Like everyone, like you said, everyone is really relatable. You can always if it's not blatantly obvious, it's a very feels-heavy movie.
Oh, yeah.
So if you like feels-heavy films, you need to see this movie, in my opinion. Like, I thought this movie was amazing.
Yeah, really definitely. Good. This wasn't a review, more of a reaction, but yeah, definitely all thumbs up from all of us. I think we were grading it in the car. We were giving it a lot of A's and B's. So, definitely a superb film. I liked it from a lot of perspectives. Animation's beautiful. Obviously, I don't think we ever really talked about that artistic standpoint, but yeah, it's animated very well. It benefits, I think, from it being a very tame film from a kinetic standpoint, but it's very emotional in like the framing and the editing and the movement and the way that it kind of conveys the emotionality of the characters.
We didn't even get into like her mom.
Oh my god, that's
Shoko's mom was
very powerful character.
We didn't get to a lot. We'll get it. We can always come back to this,
right?
Because not to sidetrack too far, but Yuzuru as well as a side character. Yeah, the way she showed death to her sister in the photos.
That was
like taking photos of dead frogs and pigeons
clever.
and shit to try and deter her sister
because she knew the whole time.
Yeah. But it's also like such a childish way of viewing it, where it's like I saw that and like. Because the explanation being like her sister's suicidal, so if I show her the brutal reality of death, she won't do it.
Exactly.
And when it could just be the exact opposite, it's like
encouraging.
Like it's the way a child tries to fix something. They have one idea and they don't think it through and they go for it.
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing, and that's another reason why there's so many sort of like just like that where we're able to kind of like flush out another idea from the movie. Like there's a lot of wonderful side characters, like a really touching narrative about the stress that like childhood relationships can bring. And it touches on a lot of deep topics. So yeah, big ups to you guys. If you guys go ahead and check it out, we would definitely support you. Recommend it heavily. But I think that's all we've got. Plural. Thank you for stopping by.
Anytime.
Anything you want to plug at the end of this podcast? Anything that you want?
I'm plugless tonight.
You're plugless? Yeah. All right, damn. That sounds dirty.
It's all right, man. I brought plenty for us.
Yeah. We gotta plug. Anyway, house is fucking...
That's getting cut.
You wish, motherfuckers. Anyway, as always, if you had a good time, if you had any opinions about the film A Silent Voice or The Shape of Voice, however you find it, if you guys get a chance to see it or have had a chance to see it, this movie's been in circulation for a little bit, comment down below. Let us know what you thought. We'd love to hear opinions. We'd love to hear some other insights perhaps that we missed. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and as always, have a good day, have a good life. We'll see you next time.